Yeah. Could the scout troop come forward, please? The March 2nd, 2026 meeting of the Bay City City Commission will come to order. The city clerk will give the invocation, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and there will be a moment of silence after for retired Fire Marshal Gary McPhee. Please rise. Thank you. Please thank Troop 119 for the start of our Pledge of Allegiance tonight. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Here. Coakley.
Here.
Doyle.
Here.
Tenney.
Here.
Zanotti.
Here.
DeWitt.
Here.
Rumberg.
Here.
Charlebois.
Here.
Morris. Mr. Mayor.
Present. I did hear from Commissioner Morris. He may be tardy or absent for tonight. Is there a motion on that? Commissioner Coakley?
Motion to excuse Commissioner Morris.
Is there a second? Commissioner Runberg?
Second.
Any objection? Seeing none, Commissioner Morris is excused, and we do have a quorum. First order of business. Guess what time it is? It's that time of year we get to celebrate Irish, and everybody's Irish. And so, Megan Jerk, I'm going to invite you up, and then anybody else that from the crew, from the St. Patrick's Day Parade Association, and we're going to go to the live mic. So welcome. You want to talk about the parade and who we have here, and then I have a proclamation to read.
Proclamation first.
You want me to read the proclamation first? I will read the proclamation. All right. So it says, the City of Bay City Proclamation. Whereas on Sunday, March 15th, 2026, the sons, daughters, and friends of Ireland will be marching down Center Avenue for the 71st annual St. Patrick's Day Parade, Blarney by the Bay. And whereas this St. Patrick's Day Parade is our finest symbol of heritage many of our own people bring across from the sea and has proudly spread spirit this week in our name throughout the land. And whereas this organization, including members with over 50 years of dedication and volunteer service, works all year long to build an outstanding parade year after year. And that's true. And whereas Rochelle Oval will lead as parade marshal along with the Queen, the court, and all the one princess. Whereas 3 generations will serve as parade marshal, from Timber Brennan to Agnes Reeder to Rochelle Oval, while also celebrating her birthday. I think people need to sing along the parade route. Whereas Bay City Irish welcomes us to the joy of this occasion by twinkling Irish eyes, lifting Irish song, and a sturdy Irish friendship. Now therefore I, Christopher R. Gerard, Mayor of the City of Bay City, do hereby proclaim the week of March 8th to March 15th, 2026 as Irish Week. And I want to urge all citizens to join in saluting the Irish, especially in the St. Patrick's Day Parade. So I'm going to turn it over to Megan to introduce everybody.
Thank you so much. We are very excited, and I think we have a little Irish luck now that we have Irish Week. We could not do this without all of the community members coming together, especially our sponsors, Tri-County Building Trades, Consumers Energy, and so many Friends of St. Patrick's sponsors that I would be here all night if I had to name them all. So thank you to all of our sponsors, and thank you to all of our volunteers that put this on. You can see we are a very tiny group that make big things happen. So I will pass the mic over to Grace, our Vice President.
Thank you. So glad to be here tonight as Vice President. That's super special, but this year I get to be the pageant director, and I'm super excited to introduce you to our 2026 court, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi everybody, my name is Taylor Riggy, and I'm gratefully your 2026 queen.
Hi, I'm Maddie Grigorchek, and I'm your first runner-up. Hi everyone, my name's Brooke Dufresne, and I'm so thankful to be your queen's second runner-up.
Hello, I'm Emily Conley, and I'm the princess.
Good evening. I am Rochelle Ovalle, your 2026 Parade Marshal and also the Association Secretary.
Hi, I'm Jen Hansen, Association member.
Jan Rao, Treasurer.
Alan Rao, Lineup Chair.
Let's hear it for all these folks.
Oh, brother, Rochelle, this is your official parade book.
For me, or to give to the mayor? Thank you.
Well, yeah, I signed it, so I don't need it. I did. So I do have, I'm going to give you all the proclamations to share. So again, I look forward to seeing everybody out on the parade route. Who's not going to be there? Let's point them out. No, we hope we have a great time and a great parade, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you all. Thank you. March 15th. Remember, Sunday, 2 o'clock it starts.
Precisely.
Yes.
2 o'clock.
It's,
Thank you.
all right. Next on our agenda, we have a year in review video. So we're going to turn to the screens.
This year, you're going to notice we did our year in review a little bit differently, so I hope you enjoy it. It's going to list all the things that our department heads and the city is working on. Some really great things.
It makes me very happy that people still take the time to look at our city and to invest in our community.
What makes Bay City great is the people who live here, the community that come together to make sure these things that happen in our parks are a success.
Your neighbors are your friends. We work with each other, we live with each other, and we enjoy the community together.
It's a big town with a small town feel. All the festivals we have throughout the summer, just the opportunities to interact with people. Very nice to work where you're appreciated.
I grew up here, and just seeing how the community has changed and continues to change, and how folks are embracing those changes and embracing all of the new developments, the new residents, the new businesses.
It's just a welcoming community. I mean, I've been here since 1988. I'm glad I chose this place to live and raise my family. It's a warm, welcoming place.
This year was a strong reminder of how important connection and leadership are in local government. This past year was really about connection and leadership, both internally and with the community. From engaging residents through the community survey and the Capture the City photo contest to regional and international collaboration, we focused on listening and showing up. We also celebrated our employees and partners who make this work possible. All of it reflects on our commitment to transparency, service, and moving Bay City forward together.
A big focus for public safety this year was preparedness, both for our teams and for the community. Public safety had a very active year focused on training, readiness, and community engagement. From ice rescue and fire attack training to youth and citizens academies, we emphasized education and preparedness. Our teams were also recognized at the state level for their dedication and service. Everything we do is centered on keeping residents safe while building trust in the community and a positive future for public safety in Bay City.
This year was about keeping the lights on safely while also planning for the future. Bay City Electric Light and Power focused on reliability, safety, and service this year. Our crews assisted with storm recovery across northern Michigan and earned gold safety status from the American Public Power Association. We also expanded programs like customer notifications and voluntary green power while supporting local business growth and major expansions, such as those happening at Merson. It's about dependable power today and planning for tomorrow.
We saw some exciting momentum this year when it comes to redevelopment and growth. Economic development focused heavily on housing and reinvestment this year. We secured more than $1.4 million in brownfield redevelopment grants to support projects like Water Street Lofts and other key redevelopment areas. These investments help transform underused properties into housing and opportunities for residents. It's about strengthening neighborhoods and supporting long-term growth.
Parks are where the community comes together, and this year we made some exciting improvements. Parks play a big role in quality of life, and this year we were excited to open the new playground at Bigelow Park and the new Maplewood Park Sports Complex. Projects like these create spaces where families can gather, play, and enjoy the outdoors. We're focused on maintaining and improving parks that serve residents of all ages and keep Bay City a great place to live.
This year marked a major step forward in upgrading some of our most important infrastructure at our treatment plant. Wastewater work often happens behind the scenes, but it's critical to public health and the environment. This year, we completed work on an almost $12 million project to replace our 55-year-old biological treatment process, which we call trickling filters, at the treatment plant. Funded through ARPA, this project modernizes our system and improves water quality. It's a major investment in reliability and the future.
Thank you very much. All right, next item of business is the adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Yep, Commissioner Tenney.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second? Commissioner Doyle.
Second.
Thank you. Do any members of the commission wish to add an item to the agenda? All right, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the agenda?
Commissioner Cubit? Yes. Oakley?
Yes.
Doyle?
Yes.
Tenney?
Yes.
Zanatti?
Yes.
DeWitt?
Yes.
Rumberg?
Yes.
Charlebois?
Yes.
8 yes.
All right, the agenda's been adopted. Next order of business is the consent agenda. Do any members of the commission wish to make a change to the consent agenda? Commissioner Cubit.
Yes, I'd like to pull number 9 regarding Newmarket Commons.
All right, anybody else? All right. Next order of business calls for public input on the consent agenda. This is the opportunity for citizens to remove an item from the consent for consideration on the regular agenda. If anyone in the audience wishes to make a change, please come to the microphone, print your name on the registration sheet, state your name and address for the record, and the item you wish to have considered on the regular agenda.
Say consent agenda.
This is, yep, they're pulling items off to be voted on.
6. My name is Robert Schindehat.
All right, which is, just to make sure,
Park one.
that it's the contract with Sinclair Recreation.
That's 1.
That's what you'd like to have removed, okay. Oh, is it a little, the light on?
Yeah, I have trouble with this.
Okay.
You guys talk right into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Schindehat, 1805 Fraser Street.
All right, thank you.
How does this work? Do I get 5 minutes for the consent agenda?
So it'll go on the regular agenda, and then there'll be opportunity for public input here shortly.
Because I want to talk about something else. If I only have 5 minutes.
Well, at this time, it's just pulling items from the agenda.
All right.
All right, any other person like to make a change to the consent agenda? All right, is there a motion on the consent agenda? Commissioner Runberg.
Move to approve consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner DeWitt.
Second.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll in adoption of the consent agenda?
Commissioner Coakley.
Yes.
Doyle.
Yes.
Tenney.
Yes.
Zanotti.
Yes.
DeWitt.
Yes.
Rumberg.
Yes.
Charlebois.
Yes.
And Cubit. Yes. Yes.
All right, consent agenda has been approved. Next order of business calls for public input. Under the rules of the City Commission, each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes to speak. Commissioner Coakley will serve as the timekeeper. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the commission regarding any agenda item or any other matter. If anyone wishes to address the commission, please come forward, print your name on the registration sheet, and state your name and address for the record. We do ask that people be respectful in addressing the mayor and commission. Public input is a one-way communication, and the mayor and the commissioners cannot answer at this time. Please meet with them after the meeting if you need further information. Yeah, and just so people are aware, there were a couple of resolutions that did get pulled off tonight. The one regarding immigration and the other one, the committee, yeah. So now is the time, Mr. Schindler, if you want.
This is regular public comment?
It's your regular public input at this time.
Okay. Well, I was going to talk about Carroll Park, but that's not my main thing, so I'll just skip that. And okay, I'll probably run out of time here. 5 minutes really isn't enough time to talk about this stuff. Okay, I hope you can forgive me, but I believe in plain speaking like Harry Truman. Unfortunately, 5 minutes is not enough time to have a real discussion. The most important issue we have before us now is the selection of a new city manager. As was pointed out to me at a recent CDC meeting, there are probably other positions in our city government that are just as or almost as important. But the city manager is the figurehead, makes the big money and takes the heat and gets all the glory. The buck stops there. I want to thank Dana for her years of service and wish she could stay on. After kicking the tires, I could say she has at least a few more good years left, but perhaps the die is cast. So I have much to say, but it is all about that in one way or another. Okay. So I hadn't been to a commission meeting in a long while until I read about the bridges. I had really assumed that it was much ado about nothing in order to drum up additional support for funding maintenance or more support from our county or our state. And when they actually signed the lease, and that was it. So I was mortified, and I still am. And I want to compliment Jim Reed for his dedication and hard work to never give up the ship and battle to the last man. It is pretty obvious for those who must battle the rush hour traffic across Veterans Bridge that Jim is still getting support. He would have my vote if he ever ran for commissioner or mayor. Anyway, I decided I should start paying closer attention and began watching the meetings on YouTube, and I will say you do a bang-up job with those and the agenda packets on the internet. It was when these welcoming resolutions came up that I decided I needed to come here in person. I pay taxes, of course, as a homeowner. I want our law enforcement to be first-rate, and that includes cooperation on every level with all other law enforcement agencies, city, county, state, and federal. Too many agencies to list in my allotted time, but including Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE. The law is the law, and it is based on the Constitution. Of course, I pity the poor immigrant, but the solution to any perceived injustice in immigration law lies in the law and not in micromanaging and shackling our law enforcement over one issue which could easily produce harmful and unsafe consequences in the future after this politically sensationalized event blows over, which I believe it will. If the previous administration had not lied their way through letting in millions of unvetted immigrants, we would not be seeing this. The resolution is just more politically motivated pushback from the same people for the same reasons they let them in the first place. And now to the heart of the matter. This original resolution was passed 5-4 and had to be vetoed by the mayor. We are now in the process of selecting a new city manager, and I frankly do not trust this commission to make a wise choice. Misguided democratic socialism is un-American, a disgrace, and an insult to our forefathers. It is also not the way most American people want to live. Consequently, I hope that Dana will be allowed to take a commanding lead in vetting the candidates presented. Obviously, she has incomparable on-the-job experience in the day-to-day workings of our various departments and the unique demographic that is our city of Bay City. Not just the loud and rebellious rabble-rousers, but the hardworking, silent majority as well. As far as the expressed desire from our citizens that whoever we pick will reside in the city, I concur on that, and although it is illegal to make a requirement, I don't understand why we could not just ask them if they intend to do this. It is also possible with the many real estate people involved with our city that we could present a new hire with a city tour and a portfolio of properties that are in line with what they would want to make a home. Just make sure you don't tell them about the utility bills. It would be great to find a city manager that learns to love Bay City as much as the people who live here do. Okay, and I heard a lot of mention about stakeholders. Apparently that's a pretty good issue, and I imagine it includes the department heads, of course, and Dana knows everybody that should be a stakeholder, but I just wanted to bring up, I went to Delta College and studied manufacturing technology, and at the time, they put out this directory in 1988, the Bay County Growth Alliance, and I haven't seen one since. But at the last meeting, there was a guy named Jordan Bonacek who spoke very eloquently about the need to understand the businesses in Bay City and what their needs are. Because I believe in getting a job. I don't think we should live off welfare. And these people provide jobs.
Commissioner Cubit?
Move to allow the speaker 2 more minutes.
All right, Commissioner Doyle?
Second.
So,
Is there any objection? Oh, you gotta vote. All right, so the speaker has 2 more minutes.
okay. Yeah, so I studied manufacturing technology, and it was very interesting, but it really didn't help me a whole lot getting a paying job. I've been in Bay City. I moved here in 1978 when I was 25 years old. My family brought me here. My dad was born and raised here, but I wanted to get a job, and I've worked I'm retired now, but I went to a lot of trade shows, a lot of manufacturing shows, and it's really interesting stuff. And it's, bakeries and hair salons, they're great, they're great. But the meat and potatoes is manufacturing and banking. And we need to find out what these people want and need to survive around here, and also to attract more like them. And we've done a pretty good job so far, but moving forward, I want to make sure that we continue with this important subject. Way back in '78, I was enamored of the beautiful city hall we had, and I wanted to come here and find out how things operated. So I started coming to some meetings, and the first thing I ever spoke about was the need for jobs. We need jobs in this town, and here it is, like 40 years later, and I still feel the same way. Kids growing up, they need jobs. And you could take them on field trips. You're talking about Carroll Park and building $1 million playground. How about organizing field trips to some of these companies so the kids can see what they might be doing after they learn the stuff they need to learn to get a job and go to work? So that's probably all the time I got. So that should be enough. But thank you, Dana.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Please try to hold the applause. Thank you.
Good evening. Oh, I better put this down.
Oh, could,
Is this okay? I did this? So you can hear me. I'm a little bit shorter than the previous gentleman who was very well spoken. I am Nancy Dobson, and I have lived in Bay City since graduating from Saginaw Valley State University in 1973. And from that time till the present, I have been a secretary, and following maybe about, up until about 1989, I did transition before that, and I had 22 years in real estate experience, and wanted to go back to a real job, but it was a good experience to really get to know this community. And Bay City, I have told people time and time again, I think is like an almost undiscovered but being discovered gem. I'm originally from the northern Detroit suburbs, Mount Clemens, but like I said, went to Saginaw Valley State University and graduated in the 70s and stayed up here. And so I've seen that world as far as the secretary jobs, the real estate aspect of this wonderful city. And then after that, I returned in the year 2000 to my alma mater, and I became a teacher, which I did for 12 years. A lot of it, unfortunately, subbing before COVID, but now that I'm retired, anyway, I just wanted to make a point that in touching different aspects of this town, in finding a city manager to meet those needs, that it does boil down to something very simple that I've noticed, what occupation you're in, is this, as I've told students. Past behavior is a good indicator of future action. And you can spend $15,500 on a search team to look and research for you. That's $3,000 more than I make a year. Again, Bay City has a very low cost of living, which, it is quite a good feature. Low crime rate, etc. But beware, since we're also happen to be in a midterm election year, or whether that or you're searching for another city manager, someone who is anxious for that position may promise you the sun, the moon, and the stars, but what have they done? We want to believe what they said even after they're interviewed. But as we happen to have been in the realization in the past year, want to believe that our costs would be lower, we would not be in another war, I would obey the Constitution, and so on and so forth. And when they got in, what did we get? We've been in 2 wars, Venezuela and Iran, in the past month. But that's another subject. I'm going to get back on task to Bay City. But it's, again, to make a point. Look at his past actions will be an indicator of future behavior. And as far as real estate in this town, when I was at Saginaw Valley State University, I served on Student Senate with now Bay County Executive Jim Barsha, and I've helped him out in his campaigns through the years. He told me something astounding a few months ago. And in Bay City, 70% of the housing is rental. The American dream is like, whoa. So I'm hanging on to my little house, etc. So, and Jim is very astute about getting his facts straight. So again, in searching for a city manager and also managing, it's the whole sphere, as Jim Barsha has to do, the city manager has to do, whether it's police, utilities, and so forth. I also have praised Bay City as we're lucky to have a separate electric company, which not a whole lot of places do. Fortunately, I know the South End has had some glitches. Consumers Energy has had some problems on the big grid, but it's rare that Bay City has not had too many outages. It's like a little bit of an oasis. And, oh, there's our police at work, God love them. So there they go. So anyhow, and one other kind of observation.
Oh, 1 second. Commissioner Runberg.
Move to provide the speaker 2 more minutes.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Commissioner
Thank you,
Tenney.
sir.
Second.
Any objection? Seeing none, the speaker has 2 more minutes.
Okay, I'll wind it up. As far as utilizing some assets here in this city, again, as I said, I was a teacher for 12 years. And my college roommate, her son, Matt Fallon, is now school board president. We've got 2 vacant schools on the west side, one that you see quite often at the corner of Jenny and Winona. It's vacant. It used to be alternative ed. Then there's another real big one, and they're both like brick 1 level. I think it used to be Regal School. It's bordered by Vermont, and then going way down to Erie, and so forth. It takes up 2 blocks, and it's vacant. Why I'm bringing this up is for 2 reasons. Could they be utilized for either low-cost housing? You've already got the shell of a building, brick. Now, it's been vacant, and God rest his soul, my dad was a general contractor of homes, so I kind of grew up with that, and real estate. Could they be examined to be converted into either some more low-cost housing or a homeless shelter? Because Jim Barsha told me the vacant school at the corner of the one-way Jenny and North Winona was going to get torn down. But I'm wondering, could it get a second opinion? We've seen TV shows like, Fixer Upper or The Bones, as far as like structurally. Get another opinion. We've got it. Rather than spend money on demolishing it, can we utilize that? And it's a win-win situation. You don't have to necessarily buy the property from Bay City Schools.
Time.
Lease it, and they'd have some money year to year.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Help everybody. I'm fine. Thank you so much for
thank you so much.
indulgent. Appreciate it.
Jeff Reed, 409 Fillmore. I'm going to label tonight's little comment, and everything I say up here is my opinion so I don't get sued by the Bay City Bridge Partners. I'm going to label this one my year in review looking at the Bay City Bridge Partners. Let's start out with the transponders. This is the blown up version of the transponders. This is what they want you to put on your vehicle so that it's visible from the outside of the vehicle. Because they claim that they're, I don't know their cameras, but however they collect the information on these, when you pass by their, we'll call it a scanner, that it won't pick it up unless it's visible. Well, it turns out they lied again. I've been testing this process for about a year now, and they flat out lied to us. This can be placed behind the shaded area on your windshield, up high in the vehicle, so that you don't have to be embarrassed when somebody looks at your vehicle to see this Bay City Bridge Partners sticker on there, and it will still pick it up. And I've done a 1-year test on this. Not a word from those guys. very interesting to think about. The other thing to think about these, the reason they want us to have this visible, it's for one reason, because you're advertising for the Bay City Bridge Partners for free, folks. Don't listen to their crap, they can't be trusted. So it turns out these transponders still work when they're in the, you can even put it on upside down, inside out with a piece of Scotch tape. It doesn't matter. Their electronics will still pick it up, according to my test. Then let's talk about the solid white line on the road as you approach those cameras. That area of the road is straight. There's no reason for a solid white line down the center of that road to go from a dashed line into a solid line other than for one reason. That's to line you up so those cameras can take photographs of your vehicle. It has nothing to do with public safety. So with that being said, a resident reached out to me and actually mentioned that they got an extra bill from the Bay City Bridge Partners. They charged them $5.50, and they're a Bay City resident. They charged them an extra $5.50 because they had made a lane change in that area. And they claimed, if I remember correctly, they claimed that the camera couldn't get a picture of the license plate, but it did read the transponder. And that person talked to them about it, and they rescinded the $5.50 for being out of that lane. But I guess what my point is on this, with that solid white line, the Bay City Bridge Partners should not be collecting money on people that are traveling and making illegal lane change. That is the job of Bay City Public Safety, not the Bay City Bridge Partners to be charging folks extra money because they accidentally changed lanes, didn't see the solid line for whatever reason. Which raises the question, how did the line get there in the first place? How did they get the authority to put a line down on a road that's completely straight other than for one purpose, and that's to collect your information as you drive over that bridge? It looks like the boycott against the Bay City Bridge Partners is going extremely well. Hopefully the people that are going to be coming to the St. Patrick's Day Parade this year with floats, the Bay City Bridge Partners, if they cross that bridge, hopefully they won't jack them up and charge them extra for bringing a float to our parade. And I'm going to end with bridges are supposed to be built to bring people together, not prices apart. Thank you.
Time.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name's Andrew Thibodeau, 610 16th Street. BA, Sociology, MPA, State and Local Government, Central Michigan University. I read the mayor recently pulled the resolution to affirm and enforce the brutal, heartless ICE thugs invading our city, among many others in the United States. That's good. He's probably too busy with his own tax filing for his nonprofit, filing for all his tax exemptions for his own bloated income coming from exploiting individuals with intellectual disabilities.
So, point of order, sir. That's something that actually false. But you address the body, and it's not relevant to what's going on in city business.
Sorry I hurt your feelings, big guy. But in America, social adjustment services like that Christopher Gerard provides for these individuals.
Sir, the commission as a whole, please, not individuals.
He's our mayor of the city. This is relevant.
Okay.
These social adjustment services help refugees, immigrants entering thy new country through cultural orientation services. So I'd like to learn more about what generates Gerard's income in particular. Why is he pro-ICE? Pro-ICE residents here need to look into and recognize exactly who they support and who and what they are lashing out against. I don't even think they know. The only sanctuary city in Michigan is our state's capital city of Lansing. And that's not primarily where most illegal immigrants are located. Of the 760,000 in our state, most live in large metropolitan areas like Detroit, Grand Rapids, and they contribute to Michigan's economy. They are not a huge group of dangerous, threatening criminals. But I tell you, Trumpers live in a cascade of this crazy logic and details, their own little limited political world. This cult is un-American, enabling a dictator, only making America worse for themselves in the long run. ICE is a big example of that. Bay City, get rid of ICE and use democracy as a tool to improve our town and the rest of the nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Paul Kleinow, 1713 10th. A couple topics, I'll try and move quick. First on the city manager process, looking over the consultant chosen, they seem well equipped to make recommendations, have done work in similar cities, so I was happy to see that. I'd just like to give my support to bringing in the consultant and making sure they speak to groups beyond just this commission, city staff, Chamber of Commerce, but all of the other smaller businesses in the city, the nonprofits who took care of the homeless this winter, the public of the various wards directly. And make sure that we can get that feedback on what we want out of our manager, what projects we want them working on, what experience we want them to have, rather than just get that feedback from a small group of people. We have a lot of work to do, especially on creating affordable housing. And I think a manager with any background in that would be very beneficial. This is not Bay City unique, this is country unique, but to that point, we can probably find people with experience working in the field who can look into how the city can help accomplish that task. I think the main point here is that the city should be a way to give the working people power to change things in town and not just be a vehicle for those already with power to use it. I also urge the city to move on a better emergency weather response as the winter ends. We might still have a few cold snap days coming, but we have to plan better for next year. We have all summer to work on this. There were multiple days where warming centers being open was just purely a matter of charity and luck of whoever was in town and available to help. And I think the city should have a systematic process for doing this. Supposedly there's a county process. I didn't see much example of that, and I think this is definitely a project to be worked on over the next year before next winter. I'd also like to just put a recombination of thoughts from last session's contentious meeting and where I hope this goes, now that we're in a new, hopefully fruitful negotiation phase on where that resolution goes. I still maintain there's a paradox between the two main reasons given to block the resolution. Since we know no commissioner spoke in favor of spending police money on civil immigration enforcement, it's not our job, we don't have the money to do it, and no one here said they were. Okay, so the two reasons given, some commissioners and the mayor, and to some extent our DPS director, said the resolution was juice not worth the squeeze because it did functionally nothing, just reconfirmed existing policy, especially after some necessary tweaks would be made after the fact. So why would we do it, was one of the reasons against. Others said, and I think this was the more dominant point, that they had heard threats from our Congressman Beeson, House Speaker Matt Hall, and mysterious grant letter signing anonymous threats, as the city manager identified. And they didn't want to lose funding from those people who threatened us, as if that's a normal thing that should define how a city works, is under threat. But I just can't square those 2 points, because if the resolution does nothing, then what are we being threatened for? Like, you can't just threaten us because we didn't change any policy. At that point, we're passing a resolution that says we like our current policy, and then we're losing funding over it, which is just, to me, an open and shut First Amendment case. Like, I can't speak that I like something without losing city funding. It's ridiculous. But looking specifically, such as one of the speakers earlier today, and our out-of-town visiting Nazis from last meeting, were they against these resolutions purely because they just think it was like a thing for the city to be better at? Or do they want our police to spend money on working with ICE, which is something we're not currently doing, but they want us to start doing that? The resolutions didn't actually change anything. I think a lot of the opposition that came out was against the idea of the resolution, not against the actual content of the resolution. So are they simply against that passage? Or since those policies were already in place, do those people who are against it actually want us to change our current policies, want us to cooperate more with ICE, want us to sign a 287G agreement? I think we all know the answer to that, and we should take that into account when we're considering what we do with our upcoming resolutions. I know I'm running low on time, but I also can't square this fear because of what's happening in the rest of the country. Many cities and even states are not just passing resolutions like this that create Bay City-style policy, but going much farther. A similar-sized city with even more unstable revenue, because it's a student-heavy college town with a majority renter base of Ypsilanti, passed much stronger resolutions in the past 2 weeks. They were having ICE nab parents from bus stops. I'm sure they were violent criminals, right? And they responded by passing resolutions that prevented city property from being used without a warrant. You can't stage on city property. You can't come into a courthouse or city hall and just grab people. You need to say, that guy did a crime, I'm coming in for them, just like normal police. That was a thing that they needed. And that's, I think, a pretty straightforward resolution. We didn't even go that far, right? But why wasn't Ypsilanti afraid, right? Shouldn't they be under the same funding threats?
Commissioner Renberg.
Move to provide the speaker 2 more minutes.
Commissioner Doyle.
Second.
Any objection? Speaker has 2 more minutes.
Thank you. So I ask, why are we the only city who has to be scared of these threats when we're doing the least impactful resolution out of any city who is not afraid of these threats? This logic just doesn't square. We have a paradox of logic here. We are acting opposite from reality. What's basically happening is we're being bullied, and we're telling our bullies, yes, sir, I'll do what you say. Please don't hurt me. And then what do you think bullies do? They bully you more. They keep asking for things. They keep demanding things. And now we're just under their thumb permanently because we didn't have the courage or leadership to stand up for ourselves. So that's where I want this to go. And I also, this is somewhat directed at the mayor, but something general. I replied to a comment on Facebook after the mayor posted his statement the other day, where it was basically just sort of a messaging statement about the city being valuable as a diverse place, valuable as a place to welcome immigrants. Obviously, we are an immigrant town. We have Irish, Polish, German heritage all over the city, and I think it's good to talk about that, especially as a city that does need to keep growing. And yet, despite this agreement of fundamental worldview, after last meeting's peaceful protest outside, nearly 100 people, the mayor demanded Mr. Runberg design due to unsafe conditions. I'd like to hear that explained in more detail. I haven't heard what supposed unsafe conditions were worthy of expulsion from this body, especially since I didn't get to attend, but I know many people who did. But the average age of that protest was older than me. So I'm not sure exactly what threat that was supposedly coming from that protest body as a speaker that he supposedly led. I just don't get it. I need to hear more to understand this. Especially.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Josh Rogner. I'm from 224 Lagoon Beach Drive, Bangor Township. I wanted to present. Good evening, Mayor Gerard and Commissioners. My name is Josh Rogner. I'm a Bangor Township resident, a taxpayer, and a systems engineer. I am not here tonight to make a political or emotional argument. I'm here to present a structural vulnerability assessment regarding the city's law enforcement operations and our general fund. When a municipality voluntarily uses local police bandwidth to execute federal administrative tasks, specifically warrantless ICE detainers, it creates a catastrophic financial liability for the local taxpayer. Because federal ICE detainers are legally classified as voluntary requests, the federal government assumes zero financial responsibility when civil rights are violated. If Bay City holds an individual without a judicial warrant, Bay City assumes 100% of the Fourth Amendment liability. We know exactly what this costs. Suffolk County, Pennsylvania was hit with a $112 million class action judgment for this exact practice. Los Angeles County paid out $14 million. This money does not come from Washington. It comes directly out of our local municipal budgets. These resolutions before you are not a radical political experiment. They are an industrial standard municipal patch. Following massive liability rulings in 2014, risk managers across the country sounded the alarm. Over half the counties in Pennsylvania and 64 county sheriffs in Colorado proactively suspended this practice. They looked at the math and realized that cooperating with federal requests was not worth bankrupting their local taxpayers. We are currently behind the curve on this patching this liability. We cannot afford us to subsidize federal administrative work with local tax dollars. Doing so breaks two of our most critical municipal investments, our physical infrastructure and our preventative health network. First, our physical infrastructure. We all know the state legislature recently clawed back $1.6 million in funding for our Lafayette Avenue Bridge, forcing emergency cuts to our local street repairs. Our infrastructure budget is already under attack from Lansing. We cannot allow the federal government to drain the exact same accounts the state is currently raiding. Every hour of police bandwidth spent processing unfunded federal ICE paperwork is local tax revenue drained away from what little we have to fix our roads. If we want to rebuild public trust in our infrastructure, we have to protect our local tax supply chain. Second, our public health infrastructure. Mayor Gerard, entangling local police with federal immigration enforcement, actively destroys the return on investment for the Bay Aranac Behavioral Health Network. Preventative community treatment only works if vulnerable people trust systems enough to use it. When mixed status families fear that interacting with local government will trigger deportation, they hide from preventative care. Their conditions degrade into acute crises, which forces our local police and our emergency rooms to intervene at a massive exponential cost to the Bay City taxpayer. Commissioners, you do not have to agree on the national politics of immigration, but you do have an absolute fiduciary duty to respect the math of this municipality. Working to build up the city's infrastructure and public health while leaving us exposed to federal civil rights lawsuits is like spending all year renovating a house only to leave the doors wide open so someone can steal the copper piping. The structural liability ruins the investment. Do not gamble with our general fund. Protect the Bay City taxpayer and close this liability loophole and pass the resolutions. Mr. Mayor, I have 12 copies of this liability assessment, including the legal precedents for the official record. May I approach the clerk to deliver them, or would you prefer I have them?
She'll come up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners, City Manager, and fellow residents. My name is Dustin Kosick. I reside at 505 Braddock Street, and I am a resident of this Bay City, and I'm here tonight because I care about this community deeply and how our taxpayer dollars are prioritized. I want to speak about compensation, specifically reported about the $150 per hour being paid to our city manager and how that compares to both statewide averages and the compensation of our public safety personnel. According to the compensation data, the typical city manager salary in Michigan averages about $114,000 per year, which equals roughly $55 per hour. In Bay City specifically, the average salary has been reported around $109,000 annually, which is about $53 per hour. If our city manager is being compensated at $150 per hour, that nearly is 3 times the Michigan average and far above what similar cities pay their managers. Now let's compare to the public safety. Our public safety officers, the men and women who respond to shootings, domestic violence, calls, overdoses, fires, crashes, typically earn the range of around $27 to $37 an hour, depending on seniority. Let's pause there. They face danger every single shift. They run towards gunfire. They enter burning buildings. They break up violent altercations, deal with the mental illness. They have a documented chance of serious injury or death in the line of duty. Their worst case scenario isn't paper cuts. It isn't catching the flu. It's not making it home to their families. Unless specifically targeted, the city manager does not face the same level of physical danger in the course of performing administrative duties. Managing budgets and attending meetings are important tasks, yes, but they are not life-threatening ones. And yet the compensation differences is just staggering. Now, I also want to address something that many residents are still feeling the impact: the handling and the sale of our bridges. The bridges situation created confusion, frustration, and what many residents would describe as a mess for this community. The traffic disruptions, the numerous accidents now, the businesses and families alike. Regardless of where people stand politically, the outcome left many residents feeling unheard and burdened. When major infrastructure decisions create disruption and dissatisfaction among the public, it raises reasonable questions. And this is a part of the job of a city manager. This city manager has leased our bridges and put a great danger, or I should say a great burden, on its own citizens. If you look around, our community is falling apart. Roads are like swallowing up cars going down State Street, going down Garfield, and the list goes on. I could give you a whole list because I drive all over the city checking this stuff out. It's cool that I see that we're finally going to take care of Carroll Park that's been in disarray for many years. But this is part. So when I get a raise, it's because I'm doing good. I'm not messing up. I deserve a bonus. But when we're paying somebody this type of money for doing this to our city, it's just ridiculous. And so I feel compensation should reflect the risks and responsibility and performances impacts on its residents. Right now, many citizens feel the balance is off, and I ask this commission to reevaluate how our taxpayer dollars are allocated. I also ask to prioritize public safety compensation as well. I also ask you to consider whether the current pay structure reflects the values of our community and have hardworking officers who deserve to feel valued. We have residents who deserve responsibility, stewardship, and we have the city that deserves leadership compensation aligned with both performance and fairness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jill Cosley, 208 West Smith Street, and I'm here tonight to talk about West Smith Street construction project. Surprise. I am going to talk about the fire station too, so. Okay. It has come to my attention that the 2027 portion from State Street to Henry may need to be changed to 2029 because of funding. I'm suggesting that a portion of the project be paid for with some of the $5 million coming in from Bay City Bridge Partners with matching funds. With the truck traffic from the construction of the past year for the other part of Smith Street, the blacktop around the curve is crumbling and people fly through there because it's a curve, right? It's both a danger to the crazy drivers and the residents whose houses may be hit as a result. Also, the section by the graveyard has gotten severely damaged from the trucks with many deep holes that keep getting patched but are too many in number and are constantly forming with new ones with the warm and cold weather to be fixed correctly. I strongly suggest that a commissioner do what it takes to get this project funded for 2027. The residents in the 9th Ward have received letters about the construction with 2027 as the date for that portion of the street. Sure would not look good for the city to change the date. Also, of course, I'm still concerned about Station 5 and our need for more firefighters. The infrastructure meetings are getting us on the right path. Station 2 looks like it's going to be taken care of. I know it's not going to be a quick fix and it's not going to be, there's going to be a lot of money involved, but we still need Station 5 in our area. Please begin talks also about setting aside money in an account for things that happen to the fire stations so that there is money set aside if a window gets broke. I mean, we still do need that funding set aside, and that hasn't been talked about. So that need is still there too. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to come forward for public input?
Jeff Doyen, Bay City, Michigan. I'm over on Broadway. And I'd like to talk about the meeting we had 2 weeks ago with the disruption from people being loud to certain individuals sitting in this section holding up signs. I found it to be very disruptive. A simple sign is protesting. People get 5 minutes to speak up here upon whatever they decide to stand. They had a sign that said somebody's a Nazi. They don't even know the person, but they're holding up signs. When somebody's watching on the television because they couldn't make it down here, and instead of focusing on what the person's 5 minutes of time of what they want to say, they're disrupted because now they're looking at the TV like, oh, what's that sign say? Oh, I'm trying, and lost total focus. I do not think protesting inside chambers should be allowed. No different than if somebody starts getting up right now, starts yelling and hackling, oh, they don't like what I'm saying, this or that. The mayor last week threw people out at the last meeting over that. So whether I'm for the guy's sign or I don't like the guy's sign, there should be no signs in the chambers. And I'd like that to be addressed by all the members. I think that's very simple. Somebody gets 5 minutes. Somebody wants to stand up here for 5 minutes and tell everybody here, everyone on the commission's a Nazi. That's their 5 minutes of time. But somebody shouldn't be able to steal somebody else's time. Back to the resolutions that were technically not on the agenda today, but people keep talking about them. If somebody comes to your house, as last meeting I mentioned about walking in through the front door, sitting on your couch sleeping, you come home, are they a resident? No, the person's not a resident. Just because they shoveled the driveway on the way up so they didn't have to walk through the snow doesn't make them a resident. If they swept your floor, it don't make them a resident. When people are in our country illegally and do not have work visas and do not have work permits, that's because they were here illegally. How many laws and how many rules are you going to continue to break allowing somebody, oh, we shouldn't call ICE on this guy, we shouldn't call, you don't even know who they are. You have no idea of what their past history is. And one innocent U.S. citizen ends up dead all because somebody was so worried about somebody being detained. I myself have traveled around the world. I've been detained in Detroit, Michigan at the airport. I've been detained in Canada. I've been detained in Germany. I've been detained in Switzerland. I've been detained in Kenya, Africa. And you know what? When I produce my paperwork and I produce my ID, who am I? Why am I here? You get to leave. When somebody can't prove who they are, why does anybody care so much to protect their rights, but you don't care about the U.S. citizen that ends up dead at somebody's hand or raped or murdered or whatever the case may be? If they're not supposed to be here and they get shipped out from ICE, which is federal police officers, law enforcement officers, customs, the same thing we all travel through at every airport. Anytime you want to leave the country, you go through customs, even by car. So to say that, oh, we should be so worried about them, anybody here legally with a work permit doesn't need a sanctuary city. It is only people who are here illegally. We don't need to bring that to our city. What we should be focusing on and what we should be worried about, as somebody mentioned earlier, what about the fact of bringing more jobs? We could have had Dow Diamond right here by the bridge. We could have had Saginaw Eagle right out here. We could have had the theme park, Michigan Adventure, back in the 70s. That's how long Bay City's been screwing up on opportunity. What businesses are here? How can we help the businesses that are already here? How about making it easier for people to come here and do business? If we bring businesses here, people will come here to work. People will come here to visit. Tourism. What do we really have for tourism? Bay City's supposed to be a big tourism town. Nothing like Frankenmuth. Every weekend, Frankenmuth has something going on. Bringing people to the city for what purpose? To spend money. Thank you.
Oh, Commissioner Cubit, you all set? You want to, okay, Commissioner Cubit?
Motion for the speaker. 2 more minutes.
All right, thank you. Is there support? Commissioner Rundberg?
Second.
Second, thank you. Any objection? Speaker has 2 more minutes.
If we bring more businesses to town, the money will start flowing. How does the city operate? Off tax base. If we bring more business here, we bring more people. They're going to stop to the restaurants. They're going to stop and spend money here in town. Our revenues go up. Everybody's worried about, well, you know, if we pass this, you know, we might lose funding from the state. If we don't pass this, we might have this or we might have that. How about we just worry about our city, how we can bring more business here? There was a auto shop. Gentleman wanted to open up and sell cars down on Broadway. Spent a bunch of money trying to do it legit, came through City Hall, ended up closing because he couldn't get it done, and he's out on Center Avenue now. Hampton Township loves it. We lost that job. We lost that business from him. The other place down on Broadway, that A1 Tire, he was in business for 4 years in the city of Bay City, was never zoned correctly from the day he opened. How was anybody from the city ever drove past there and not realize he's running a shop that he wasn't supposed to? On a positive side, the gentleman had people working for him. We lost that. That's 3 people that worked for him that them jobs left. He also bought the property next to him, wanting to turn it into a car lot. It got too difficult, he sold it off. But back in '92 was the first time I ever came to a city council meeting. And I stood up in defense for Art Dorr, wanted to open another bar. He was going to employ 10 to 15 people. Anytime anybody could bring somebody here and give jobs, that's what all of our focus should be. We should only be focused on how can we bring more work to town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, happy Monday. My name is Debbie Rogers, and I'm very concerned about our city. We saw a nice video, and I'm concerned about considering bringing ICE here because I feel like there's no need. I need to know, since you want to bring ICE here, how many immigrants have really been put in jail? How many immigrants have knocked on people's doors or even came in people's doors, have raped somebody in Bay City? I just want to know about Bay City. How many immigrants have we locked up because they was criminals and they committed a violent crime? Can somebody tell me that? How many immigrants in Bay City have done that so far? How many have we locked up? Anybody have an answer to that question? That means zero, because you have no answer. How many people, though, are immigrants, are shooting up schools around the world or different cities and states that are immigrants? Can anybody tell me that? You've heard it on the news, how many immigrants are going in shooting up the schools? No, you can't tell me because there's not any. But you focus on Bay City. Bay City is a nice city. How many people felt that they're afraid to go outside because of the immigrants? If you've been living here all your life, you should have an answer. Has anybody here was afraid to go out their side or sit on their porch because of immigrants? They're afraid they're going to be hurt by an immigrant. No, but you can go outside and be worried about somebody breaking in your house and they're not an immigrant. They're not of immigrant descent or anything like that. How many of us in here are from immigrants, our forefathers and ancestors was immigrants? You probably don't want to raise your hand, but they were. We just talked about the Irish. A lot of people came over here as immigrants to different America counties, and they wanted their children and their generation to have the same opportunity that we want, that we have. A lot of us wouldn't have the same opportunities if our forefathers and ancestors wasn't immigrants. So why can't you give these immigrants the same opportunity? I'm not talking about the criminals. You want to say all these immigrants are criminals, but they're not. You have more criminals of non-waste than you do of these immigrants that's coming in. Yes, a lot of them came in and they shouldn't have came in, but we're focusing on Bay City. And to say that we want them here for ICE because of a federal funding, I mean, you're selling your souls. Where's your integrity on that? What happens to treat people the way you want to be treated? What happens to God say, love me with all thy mind, thy heart, and thy strength, and love thy neighbors the same way? How could we serve God and serve the devil at the same time? You cannot. Either it's right or is it wrong? Do we want somebody to treat us like that? Tell me what is wrong here in Bay City that we have to have ICE here. I don't even understand it. Can any of you guys really give me a reason outside of money, selling your soul for money and integrity for a federal grant that's already been cut and continue to be cut because that's what it is, talk about federal funding and money. So is that the only reason we want ICE here, because of the federal government, the funding? Is that why we want them here? We're afraid of losing a few dollars? And talking about Bay City, well, back in the day, we had the whole downtown and everything. We had businesses and everything. So what happened then? It wasn't ICE. We didn't lose that because of ICE. Why did we lose those jobs? That's something you city commissioners should be asking yourself. Did it have to do with the way the city was ran, or what? So my question is, Bay City don't need ICE. Our public Department of Safety is doing an awesome job. We have no problems. So why are we bringing them here? Tell me, answer. Anybody, commissioners, you're going to vote that we bring them here, so why do you want to bring them here? Can I get an answer?
This is a one-way. We can't talk.
Okay, well, this one way is, I'm not, myself as well as others feel like we are safe here in Bay City. We don't need to bring ICE here because we're worried about funding, which you're going to misappropriate anyway. So why are we bringing them here? I feel safe. A lot of people feel safe, so I don't understand it. All we're doing is, actually what we're doing is we're showing racism, we're showing that it's okay to mistreat people, and it's not about ICE specifically, it's about how they do things, how they're grabbing people out, they don't even know. That's what it's about, it's their tactics. But even though it's their tactics, we don't need them here. But I'm more afraid of ICE than I am of an immigrant. Because ICE will take anybody. I could be riding down my girlfriend, she'll be in my car, and all of a sudden he see an immigrant, or what he think is an immigrant, then I'm attacked. And then there's problems. Unless it's been instead, if we take somebody that we think is an immigrant, and if there's hurt behind it, or if I get hurt or somebody like that, we're suing you, we're suing the city. So to me, and the people that has been killed they're not immigrants, but they've been killed for peaceful protesting. You have a lot of ICE people that are just racist and they really
Time.
don't care.
Commissioner Cubit,
Move to have the speaker have 2 more minutes.
Commissioner Tenney.
Second.
So I'm really, what I'm really,
One second, is there any objection? All right, seeing none, you speaker has 2 more minutes.
so what I'm really asking you guys, when you just do some soul searching within yourself, we pledge allegiance to the flag, we got the song America the Beautiful, but all that came from immigrants. If it wasn't from immigrants, as I stated, a lot of you wouldn't even be here. So those immigrants that's here, we need to be concentrating on getting them citizenship, especially those that have made a difference in our country and just paying taxes and just doing work, hard work that a lot of people don't even want to do. I just don't understand it, and I just think that we shouldn't bring ICE here, and I think that you guys should vote on how the people feel, because even though we put you in a position, it doesn't mean you misuse your power or your leadership. We don't want them here, we don't need them here, and I'm just asking that you guys really do some soul searching, because everybody in America, it's not Americans, because Americans wouldn't do things like this. American wouldn't treat people bad. American wouldn't judge a person because they're immigrant, not true Americans. They would give somebody a chance. People of God wouldn't do this either. You can either serve one devil, you serve God, or you serve the devil, the bottom line. When you hurt people, you hurt God. So I just wanted to say that. We don't need them here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Kelly Cole. I reside at 505 Braddock Street. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioner, and fellow residents. I'm here to speak about the proposed Welcoming City resolution and why I believe it raises serious concerns for Bay City. Public safety. First, public safety. Our police officers and detectives have expressed frustration that they have been consulted inadequately. These are men and women who face danger every single day. To protect us, their insights are not optional, they are essential to making policies that can keep our community safe. Second, the spotlight on Bay City. This debate has put our small city, just over 32,000 residents, under national attention. One commissioner publicly told his followers, anyone who does not feel this way is un-American. Comments like that politicize our local government, turn policies into spectacles, and create division in a community that doesn't need it. Undocumented residents and crime. Third facts about undocumented residents. There's no verified account of undocumented immigrants in Bay City. Statewide, Michigan has roughly 100,000 to 110,000 undocumented immigrants, but our city's foreign-born population is about 1 to 2%. 18 undocumented were arrested in Bay City, and 8 others were taken into custody with prior criminal charges. These arrests represent specific enforcement actions, not the total population statewide data that shows the majority of undocumented individuals arrested are about 65% had no criminal convictions. This illustrates that while some undocumented residents have been involved in criminal cases, most live peacefully and do not pose a threat. How ICE works and local presence. ICE, the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, is a federal agency under the Department of Homeland Security. Its mission is to ensure immigration law, invest related crimes, and detain or remove individuals unlawfully in the United States. Local police are not required to enforce immigration law. Cooperation is voluntary and occurs when federal detainers or warrants exist. In Bay City, ICE has conducted specific multi-agency operations where duties assisted federal local authorities such as the rest I mentioned earlier. These operations are rare and targeted, not routine law enforcement. Fiscal impact. Fourth, fiscal impact. Policies that limit cooperation with ICE put state and federal funding at risk. Well, the exact numbers aren't published for Bay City. Potential losses would affect critical services, infrastructures, the public safety programs that are really underpaid compared to our staff here that I'm addressing. Redundancy. Finally, the redundancy. The resolution does not create new policies. Bay City's policies already comply with federal law and cooperate with federal authorities under specific circumstances. Pausing these measures will largely symbolic, offering no real benefit to safety, the budget, or the residents. In conclusion, I urge the Commission to focus on what matters: public safety, the financial responsibility, civic unity, practical governance. Bay City deserves thoughtful evidence based on decision, not symbolic gestures that divide us and put our small community in the national spotlight, and especially on the very small group that you're trying to protect. You now put a spotlight on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Tracy Zane, 1321 Broadway. I'm just here to talk about the hiring process of the city manager, and I'm just curious if, let me see here, let me get back in my notes, y'all. I think that we deserve a transparent and inclusive opportunity to get to know the potential candidates that are going to be brought in, and I'm hoping that we can implant a public forum for the community so that we can get to know the constituents that are going to be forming the future of our community. One of the things that would allow us as a community to do is to learn their qualifications and their experience. It would allow us to share our concerns with them, as well as our priorities of how we would like our community shaped in the future. It would also allow them to express their experiences and their concerns, and for us to get a one-on-one with them as well. That's it for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Jana Lee Rins, and I live at 1800 24th Street. And I'd like to speak on a couple issues. First of all, the bridge issue. I came to all the meetings, and I came up with everything possible that we could do other than sell the bridges. And there was no alternative, in my opinion, because I asked everybody. I went to the state, I went to the mayor, I went to everybody. But anyway, and it's a sad situation, but it's the situation we're in. The other thing I'd like to speak on is the ICE. And I watched what happened in Minnesota. And, you know, I'm old, and I can't deal with all this. I don't feel as safe as I felt before. I felt safer before. But now with ICE people and their masks on and all their armor on, slamming people around and the brutality, you know, they could do all this and not be so brutal. And it may be that they cut out that 250 hours of their training to save time, and all that training was how to deal with people and the laws. So maybe they need to go back to school. But I really am very concerned. I never thought I would feel unsafe. I've been in Bay City most of my life. Went away for a couple of years, ski season. But anyway, I really want to be protected from ice, and I want the people in Bay City to be protected from ice as best we can. And I understand your concern about us getting our budgets cut and money kept from us, but excuse me, Timmy Beeson took $10.6 million away from our grant that was for the bridge, and nobody seemed upset about that. The other thing is about the ice. The first revolt that I went to, I'll call it a revolt, I went to Saginaw, and it was on State Street by the Myers, way out State, no, Gratiot. Anyway, we were out there marching, and it was kind of chilly, and there were probably 200 or 300 people out there. And about noon, some young kids came, and they were like 18 or 19 years old, and they were passing out water. And I found out afterwards that they were employees of Myers, and they bought the wire and came water themselves, and they came out on their break time. And I wrote them a thank you note, and I said to them, this is the America that I remember. This is the America that I want to be part of. I don't want to be a part of America where people are shooting each other and banging each other around and screaming and hollering. We worked together and gave to each other. And when they say it takes a village, it takes all of us, and it's our community that makes us people, not our brutality. Let me see what else I wanted to say. I also consider this taxation without representation, because I don't know where our Congress is. Somebody ought to have a handle on this, and it seems like nobody does. So I think it boils down to us, and that we have to put a handle on this. So I think the money is important, but we already let Timmy Beeson take $10.6 million from us. Now we're all upset about the government. And the other thing is, Dr. Faustus, in the play, Dr. Faustus sold his soul to the devil to experience everything he could in physical state. And then the devil came for his soul. And I'm not for sale. So thanks for listening to me.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, we have one more speaker.
Bruce Eckhart, 810 Germania. Well, I wanted to talk about, I don't know if you heard about the Angel Mothers. Last week they were presented with a special presentation at the White House. President Trump had them. These were, just rough estimate, they were like 64 ladies that had their daughters slain. Now, I don't think these were immigrants. They were all illegals. They had past records. The one lady, she come home and the daughter was in a bathtub, stabbed 27 times. You don't hear about it here, though, do you? Why don't you hear it in the newspaper? You hear one side only, the newspaper, so far to the left. Why isn't our reporter putting the other side? All these people have been killed by illegals. I'm sick of calling you clowns. Oh, they're all immigrants. How stupid are you looking? Oh, I know why. You're a Democrat, excuse me. It's disgusting how many killings they do, and they keep quiet about it. Yeah, these people, these 4 that died, 4 with ICE, were violent. They knew they were training. Act Blue. We know who Act Blue is, don't we? Yeah, you do. Yeah, Smile. That's probably getting a lot of cards made up, yard signs, all that from them. There are many terrorist organizations. Also, I don't know if you heard President Trump when he gave his union speech here, how he asked everybody in the House and Senate, if you think the American people should be protected first before the illegals, stand up. All the Republicans stood up.
Sir, make sure you're addressing the body here.
The only ones that sat down was the Democrats. He said, you guys are crazy. You are crazy. Disgusting. Get that in your mind, will you? You shouldn't be in America. You should resign. That's all I got. I got more to say, but that's later on. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone? All right, next item of business is the remarks of the mayor and commission to commissioners. Oh. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry.
Won't take that much time. I'm glad you got the speakers fixed. Last time I was in here, you couldn't hear. Thank you. I want to talk about your resolution. I'm not sure what the resolution is. I thought this resolution for the...
Just a name and address for the record.
Oh, Teresa Langen, 411 Southampton Street. I thought this resolution was put to bed that you vetoed in the past in regards to bringing in, welcoming, I guess, immigrants. I don't know who else would be welcome. Homeless, whatever. Again, I would like to say that I don't want Bay City to be like a sanctuary city. I don't know if that's what the resolution is. Our population is around 34,000. It's the last time I looked at it, and that was a couple of years ago. The poverty rate in Bay City is around 19.1%. Bay City has key industries, and they are like the healthcare and the social assistance, manufacturing, and trade, retail trade. Bringing in the illegal immigrants would increase social assistance programs, increase poverty levels without contributing to the community. If supporting illegal immigrants would also jeopardize the federal funding to this community. In the past, we sold our bridges to a private company. As Bay County commissioners would not step up to the plate, along with the county executive, to do the county-wide millage, where every township would pay to maintain our Independence and Liberty bridges. We don't have support around us from the townships in this county. Last year, the 5th Ward Commissioner, I won't mention her name, she's not here anymore, brought a resolution for the 24/7 drop-in shelter to the commission, which stole over $800,000 of the city taxpayers' money from the state of Michigan marijuana sales tax that was supposed to be used for our badly maintained streets. That resolution was passed by the Bay City Commission against the interests of the majority of the Bay City taxpayers. So I would like to request that the Bay City I'm requesting as Bay City citizens that support and cooperate be given to ICE and the Homeland Security. And I hope this resolution is put to bed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none. Next order of business, remarks of the mayor and commission. Commissioners have remarks. Commissioner DeWitt.
Yes, first I'd like to thank the scout from Zion Lutheran who came in and did the legislation with us. That is the group that I was a part of a long time ago, and Mr. Dale has been in charge for a long time. He does great work. I've had many disagreements with how national works, but at the local level, I think our scouting groups do a good job. I'm helping build young men and women in this area. Going on to what I have prepared here. 2 weeks ago, we had about 40 people speak, and in the 9 years that I've been coming to city meetings, had some of the most disturbing things said on that mic. We as a city cannot be afraid to call out anti-democratic foundations like fascism, white supremacy, Christian nationalism, and other ideologies that reared their ugly head at the last meeting. To allow these hateful ideologies to be platformed within our city outside of their constitutional requirement cannot happen, and we should see it that standing up for actual freedom and empowerment is more important than expanding a table to those who are actively trying to dominate others. As the saying goes, if you allow a Nazi meeting at your bar, you're a Nazi bar. 12 years ago, before I started coming here, we did have a similar confrontation at City Hall to the one 2 weeks ago. A local organization agreed to temporarily take minor refugees from the Middle East that had been displaced by war. A policy that seems so far outside today's Overton window that we as a country should honestly be ashamed. During that time, the person who ended up getting me involved in City Hall led a counter-protest to white supremacists from out of town, much like we saw 2 weeks ago. This person signed at the time, "Keep the kids, deport the racists." This person and many of their supporters received death threats, had firearms brandished at them, and had anonymous letters mailed to their employers. I see a lot of similarities to those people that, between those people and the people calling my fellow commissioners race traitors. We as a commission and as a city can and should take stances that protect everyone, even if we are not the ones currently needing protection. Inaction is the enabler of suppression. As I narrow my scope today, we have seen in the last week at the county level a move to strip services from our city and Bay County at large. Not only does the county have an appointee to the library board that seems to have a disdain for the concept of public goods, but I've also been informed that the county commission has a faction trying to stop millage rewrites from even coming to the voters to decide whether we should keep the senior care facility on Knight Road on top of the libraries. This facility on Knight Road, built on top of the old county poor farm, which if you have no idea what happened there, you should go next door when they're open and read, because it's a very interesting history. Is a vital asset for seniors and those with disabilities. I have 2 relatives in my past who have spent time there. There's also talk about this group looking to trying to prevent the E911 renewal to taxpayers in 2028, which would decrease response times, decrease response rates, increase response times, and increase turnover in a position that already struggles to retain individuals. I'm imploring my fellow Bay City and Bay County residents to fight against those stripping of services attempt, and when the time comes, vote those who are supporting removing those services out of office. Remember that just because you are not using a service now yourself doesn't mean your community does not rely on it. Finally, I want to bring it a little bit closer and talk about my view on artificial intelligence and the damage it has done here in this chamber and in our community. I am absolutely appalled that there are those who would create items using generative AI. It's really easy to spot, in my opinion, and I'm getting tired of it. I don't care if people say, well, I ask others to say if it's okay, and it is okay. It's up to those in the community to stand up and read things critically that are presented to them before just giving them a, yeah, I trust you, okay. We need to determine, is this thought authentic? In fact, I can give an example of something that was taken down but was created nonetheless that involved members in this room. Going back to 2 weeks ago, as reported in MLive, our mayor said that the commissioner from the 7th Ward should resign for inciting violence. I saw no violence outside these halls, at least by actual Bay City residents. Hateful rhetoric by those out-of-towners I've already mentioned, but not violence here. Now, a wrestling organization that the mayor went to an event for and stepped into the ring of posted an AI-generated image of the mayor body slamming not just a fellow commissioner, but also another resident, 2 Bay City residents. Thankfully, that image does appear to have been removed. And the fact that these technologies are doing this and we're not doing anything about it is baffling. Someone else posted an AI image of a mayor taking bags of money from prisoners. That obviously didn't happen. It's not violent, and that one was not a pseudo-realistic images, but an AI slop image all the same. Add on to that people using AI summaries as effective gospel for what is happening, and it gets things just outright wrong is another problem. To get to my point, I'm asking for the following. I'm asking my fellow elected officials to pledge to stop using any generative AI for anything that will touch city business, images, text, video, or otherwise. To my community leaders in business, cause, and policy, scrutinize everything presented to you. AI investigation tools are out there, and many have a greater than 95% correct analyzation rate. Don't just blindly accept what others are asking you to endorse and from who it's coming from. And through the chair to the city manager, I would like to know if there is a move to look at what AI policies for employees are within the city. Is there a process for that?
Actually, we're putting one together right now. IT is working on that.
Awesome, I love that. We need to start doing this now before this becomes an even larger problem. So let's work together and support original thought, critical thinking, local artists, and the human experience, not regurgitated and machine-spun slop. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Charlebois.
Yeah, I just have a few things to say. Polling funding is illegal at the state level and at the national level. They did it anyway, but it's illegal. Arresting people without due process is illegal. ICE is not about immigration, it's about going after the president's enemies. That's what it's really about. ICE broke about 5,000 laws so far. 5,000. We have a lawless president. I'm waiting for the rule of law to kick in. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Rundberg.
Thank you. To begin with, I wanted to thank the city manager and her staff for the video. I think you did an excellent job at putting that together, so kudos to everyone who was involved with that. I know if I'm showing off our city to someone who's not from here or who hasn't really visited here, I know what my go-to source is going to be now, so thank you for that. And I'm not sure if we have anyone here still from the St. Pat's Parade Association, but I am a grandson of a former parade marshal, a son of one and a nephew of another, and I am brother to the 2004 St. Pat's Queen. In fact, if it looks like Tom Newsham is gone, but he was the president of the association at that time. I also learned today that they no longer do the St. Pat's Ball, which I think is really unfortunate. I really hope somebody brings something like that back at some point in time. On to the more gloom stuff, as I wasn't going to speak regarding immigration tonight since we had pulled that off the agenda, but I would encourage people to review the actual language of the resolutions. There's a lot of negotiations going on. We're going back and forth on a lot of different things, but don't expect those original three that I presented 2 weeks ago to be the ones that eventually show up again. What I want people to know, though, is if they read the text of that, rather than the sensationalized media of calling it a welcoming city or sanctuary city, we're just playing into the hand of those who would rather divide us. What it does is it protects folks who are here legally. If there's a court order to remove somebody, assigned by a federal judge or a judicial warrant, it would remove them, it would detain them, it would arrest them, they would be lodged in Bay County Jail. But what we're seeing, if we expand our media diet broad enough to catch some of the other side and we step outside of our political echo chambers, we would see that that's not what's happening. It's not targeted enforcement that's happening in this country right now. It's a dragnet. And there is something I would encourage those who aren't familiar with what it is habeas corpus. Look up the habeas laws. Look up what protects people and the fact that there's plenty of violations as it stands right now. I know in January alone, just in Minnesota, the administration was in violation of a total of 97 court orders by a federal judge. So if we want to talk about crime, I would look to the people who are supposed to be upholding our sense of law and justice in this country and ask them some tough questions. But at the end of the day, I just want you to actually read the text of it. Just jump straight down to those resolved clauses, because I know they're lengthy resolutions, and understand what's actually being asked on there. It's a statement that we're going to follow the law, that we're not going to allow ourselves to be co-opted by rogue agencies. And on my commissioner, or my colleague from the 6th Ward, I will join you in pledging not to use generative artificial intelligence in my city business, absolutely. That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Tenney.
Thank you to the chair. Just touching on a topic that a few folks have brought up. I'm not offended by the word Nazi because I'm not a Nazi. I'm not offended by a sign that calls out Nazi rhetoric because I'm not a Nazi. I don't care if people that are Nazis like me because I'm not a Nazi. There were certainly words spouted at that podium a couple weeks ago that explicitly aligned with Nazi rhetoric. We heard a call for a modern-day Gestapo, explicitly. We heard explicit anti-Semitic speech. We heard explicit Islamophobic speech. And I just want to say that I'm really American, like regular Army, believe in the Constitution, was a part of the Third ID American, and I'm not a Nazi. In Bay City, I am very proud of us because nobody at that podium who was spewing explicit Nazi rhetoric was from here. They're all out-of-town provocateurs. So keep on showing up as your best selves, Bay City. Enjoy the festivities in the next couple weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Cubitt?
Yeah, two things. First, I wanted to make sure everybody knows that I recently transitioned. I think most people understand that most of us have day jobs. Mine is as a civil legal aid attorney, and I went from one civil legal aid organization, the Michigan Elder Justice Initiative, which is housed at the Michigan Advocacy Program, to Legal Services of Eastern Michigan. So I just want to disclose that so everybody knows. So I get paid a salary as a nonprofit civil legal aid attorney, and we work with a variety of community partners. And I wanted to also just say that I am pulling number 9, the new housing project, just out of an abundance of caution. Since they are a community partner, I plan to just abstain from the vote. But it's a very exciting project. I am a liaison to the Planning Commission and was very excited to hear lots more details about that project. The second thing I briefly want to mention is that AI is an important tool, but I want to stress that it's a tool. As part of my work, I recently got to go to a conference about technology and AI and my duty of competence as a lawyer and how to use it as a tool. And it's something that is very much in our future, and I have to use AI with ethics and integrity, and I plan to do that. But I will not say that I won't use a future technology, but I will use it ethically and responsibly in this chamber.
Thank you. Commissioner Coakley.
Yeah, a couple things here. We had an infrastructure meeting today. A few things with Station 2. Money's been approved for the cleanup, but we do have a 1-year timeline on that. We have a new site and it's been approved. Just have some methane to take care of there. It's down by the river, which helps us because it's still close enough to take care of everything that Station 2 could take care of. And it also gives the fire department an opportunity to have watercraft on their site. We also will have Spicer take a look at the plan for that. They seem to be doing a nice job. We then also talked about Fire Station 5 on that side of the town and trying to get through 2. Then we want to move forward and have discussion on 5. Another thing with that is I did see on the pulled about setting up a committee for the city manager. I would like to see anybody on the commission floor who has interest in being part of those be part of it. Whether we have to do it at meetings or not, I feel that all wards, which would entail the entire city, should have an opportunity to help with this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you looking for a response, Mr. Coakley?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the thing that I put forward in the discussions that had with a legal opinion that I can't share. My interpretation was wrong on the creation of that one. And two, my interpretation of the process that we were going to go through with this consultant was also incorrect. I was under the assumption we would need something quick to work with the consultant, and it does not appear we need to. So at this point, we're going to keep it for the whole commission. Perfect. That's the plan.
Yeah, I would prefer that. I think everybody should have a voice, because they will echo what comes from their wards. And, everybody's going to have an opinion on it, so we should all be part of that.
All set?
Yes.
All right, Commissioner Charlevoix.
Can I talk to Commissioner Coakley?
Through the
chair.
You can ask a question, but he doesn't have to answer. We've gone through this.
He doesn't have to answer? Well, what the hell good is it?
This isn't
the question I
Spanish
have
Inquisition.
is, he's on the infrastructure committee. He's not the chairman, by the way. I never saw a committee that didn't have a chairman, but that's what they tell me. I want to know, where's the money going to come from to build the new station?
I'll defer to the city manager on that. Well, we have a couple things. There's a bond that's already been approved, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we did a bond in the past, and we're still within that range, so we don't have to do a referendum on that.
For myself and anyone, what is a bond? Is that we borrow the money?
That is correct.
Yeah, how many years do we?
We would have to figure that out on how many years our general fund could afford, what payment could afford.
So we know, basically, we know what the monthly payments are.
Yeah, once we find that out, we can figure out what we afford.
And we've done that for $4.5 million?
We have to look at what amount we'll need, because we're also looking at grant opportunities as well.
Because I know we had, from that very expensive study that I forced, they had a new station down for $4.5 million. I guess that's a starting point. Do you think that's close to what it would be? Is that too much speculation?
I think there's too much speculation right now. I think once we get the drawings back, the proposed drawings, and our needs down there, then we'll know.
Okay, I want to ask another question. I'm not on the committee. I don't know how a guy that brought it up is not on the committee, but that's a discussion for another time. I want to know if money could be folded into that new station loan to fix number 5 too. Is that possible?
George, I'm looking at you because the scope was already approved for the bond, correct? Okay,
just for the record, probably need to come to the mic. Yeah.
For all fire station improvements, he said.
It's for all? Well,
I would probably say that the scope of the bond and the way that it was written, it probably could, but unfortunately what we're really talking about is whether that amount is going to be adequate for Station 2. So going ahead and spending a lot of money on Station 5 would just reduce that.
so my question is can it be added to it?
The bond resolution that was passed authorized us to issue up to $5.4 million in debt, or $5.4 million bond. And if we exceed that number or have a need for anything further than that number, then we would have to go back out.
It's like
and
cost
do another-
overruns, that sort of thing?
Well, it wouldn't be cost overruns. What we'd have to be doing is requesting another referendum or another opportunity for a referendum. We would have to.
You're saying we'd have to have a separate one to repair.
If we-
one's to build a new one, one's to repair one. You're saying there's a
No,
distinction
what
there?
I'm saying is if we ultimately do a bond issuance or want to do a bond issuance exceeding the 5.4 million that was already approved, we would have to do another approval.
Okay. I
Go
think
over that amount.
All right. So is that a done deal then, or?
No.
It's not a done deal. So we could ask for more, possibly?
We would again.
Anybody?
We would have to go back out and do a bond notice in the
Or
paper,
additional money?
or
Okay.
anything over 5.4.
I think I got it. I just wanted to bring it up throwing it out there because I still think that having 4 stations that are bought and paid for is a good idea, especially when you got a river running down the middle. And response time is a big deal with this project. It's not like anything else. We could put a new building for public works anywhere. But fire safety is different because of logistics. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Did you have Commissioner Tenney?
Thank you, the chair. Sorry I missed this before. It's a county issue, but I'm getting calls about it. There's been talk about a millage not being renewed for our public library system. I very much believe in our public libraries. If you're scratching your head wondering where your county commissioner stands on public libraries, or you want to use your voice, I encourage you to contact the county. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? I do have a few comments. After last 2 weeks ago's meeting, I did reach out to Erin Patrice from the Breaking Bread Village to hold a session here at City Hall March 23rd. She's going to come in, and what the Breaking Bread Village does is bring people to the table and have a dialogue and conversation on both sides so we can hear each other, not talk over each other. So look for that. That'll be out soon. So the information, the exact time, but the date is March 23rd. This forum has been booked, so please keep that on the radar. There was some speakers that had some information out there. I just want to make sure it's the public knows that it actually from the state it was 1.6 million, not 10.6. Just so there's clear that was we were expecting from the state of Michigan. It's still money lost to the community. Look, end of the day, I'm hopeful that the state representative has promised he's going to work to bring that money back. So, I'm going to support him in those efforts to try to bring that money to our community because that's the reality. We need it here, and it'll go to projects. And so we need to advocate whether we want to agree with the politics or not. The $1.6 million is going to fix streets, so I'm going to do whatever I can to support that, to bring that here. Percentage of rentals to the city manager. That number seemed real high. I know we had an updated number, which
Yeah, it was much lower than that. I can get that and send it out.
yeah, I'm just because I was astonished. Actually, we had a lot more owner occupied than we've ever had now.
Because rentals are changing into owner occupied over the last few years.
Okay, so yeah, that'd be good information because I think we have a lot more residents that are owner occupied, which I think is good for the community. There was a speaker that talked about when we go through the process of hiring the new city manager. I absolutely agree to have a public forum to make sure that residents have an opportunity to express and kind of meet the candidates. There'll be a process, I'm sure, once we go through. The more public input, I think, personally, the better. I do want to cover a couple topics that have been brought up to me and from folks that witnessed the signs in the chambers. And this is kind of a floor dialogue, I guess, if you will, to talk about that. I know it's been looked at by our city attorney whether or not we could outright ban. I mean, some cities have outright banned signage but there are some concerns about it actually holding up in court if it was challenged. So just to be clear with that, whether we agree or not. So I guess I'll open up the floor. Commissioner DeWitt.
Mine's actually a response because I just looked this up because as I'm building information for the consultant for whatever, I'm looking at stuff. I just looked up from census.gov for the owner-occupied rate. The last update on census.gov, it was 70.1 was owner-occupied within Bay City. And I don't know if that's correct because that's the census number, but there was 70% owner-occupied on the census.gov website, just for reference.
Yeah, Wade, our city assessor was here, and actually it was like somewhere in the 50%. So it used to be 60% was the number that I always heard, and then it was lower. It was like somewhere in the 50s is the last I heard. But any comments on the signs? Commissioner Kubit.
I do remember a presentation not too long ago, and please do check, but I thought that the rental unit rate in the city, which I think included high-rises, was around like the low 40s, but I really don't remember, so I'm glad we're going to double-check. We should all know that.
Thank you. Any other comments around the signs, concerns? Okay, so we'd have to deal with the commission rules if we did. So, yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Kubit.
Yeah, I actually tried to do a fair amount of research too in about the First Amendment and kind of the parameters of it, and it is awkward, right? You know, there are certain things that you can't say, like you can't yell fire in a crowded theater, and you know, you gave some guidance at the beginning. And when government delves into restricting speech, you know, it can be a lot. And I really appreciate what Commissioner Tenney said, that, you know, I'm proud for the most part of our residents of Bay City, that, you know, it was kind of people from outside that were trying to cause trouble. And I think that we can respect viewpoints here, and even if they're uncomfortable or we don't like it, I think that we can give everyone their time and get through it. But I certainly, if somebody is not being respectful, that certainly really weighs heavily on their credibility from my standpoint. So that's something that I really take to heart.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Coakley?
Well, just going down the path of, you know, where do we start to go with the signs and what can they say, and, you know, the language that could be used on them to an extent. And is there a way that we can legally just keep the audio going and cut the video feed? I mean, you know, if we're going there, then profanity could be on the signs shown on TV and everything else. Just getting to an extent. I mean, public, you know, speech is important. We got to have it. We just, you know, if we're going to draw lines, we got to figure out exactly what's going on with that.
I think excuse me, can I talk? I think if you're going to do that, that needs to be spelled out in the rules so the clerk knows when.
I'm just going, I'm going to the extreme end of it,
Yeah.
the other way.
You know. Else, Commissioner? I have several. I want to get commissioners I haven't spoke yet, and then I'll get to come back. Commissioner Doyle?
Okay, just to kind of piggyback on that thought process, could it be as simple as changing the camera view when we see something like that happening? I don't know who's in charge of the audio visual. I know the cameras, they bounce around and focus different areas. Something that one of the public speakers said really kind of resonated with me. They had referred to it as stealing the person's time with distraction. And personally, I feel that's pretty valid because it is a distraction. Everybody gets 5 minutes. If you're sitting there holding a sign behind them, it's distracting from what they have to say. The same way that we removed people at that meeting because they were yelling. Now, people at home, I know because my husband was watching it, you couldn't hear what was being said, but it was distracting for us in the room. So I'm not sure where the line is on that, but I just want to state that I think that's a valid point, that the distraction does steal the person's time, and I think that should be for consideration.
Thank you. Commissioner Kubit had another comment.
I was actually going to say almost the exact same thing, that, you know, if we could zoom in on the speaker to minimize any distraction, that might be helpful.
All right, so that's something, and I don't know if we have to do any changes to the rules to do that, or we would? Okay.
It should be in the rules, just not at the discretion of the clerk, just to protect her too.
Sure.
Yeah, we can zoom in on the cameras.
Okay. Does it specify on the there's nothing specific on camera. Would we zoom it like if they had a sign, or if just in general have it zoomed in?
I think you should be consistent.
Perfect.
My opinion.
All right, perfect. Thank you. The next comment I had is about public comment. There was some discussion around that. Again, it's a rules kind of thing. We do ask that, as I read the little sheet here, that we ask people to sign their name and address for the record, and then state their name and address for the record. There were some folks, just for consistency's sake, you know, that everybody gave it, but there's some question on whether or not they're mandated to, in order to speak, they have to say it. I know there's some folks concerned about doxing is a issue. I know everybody does sign in, so I guess I wanted to have some dialogue around that or feedback. Commissioner DeWitt?
As someone who did that a lot on the other side, the process we have, the sign-in sheet itself is also an honor-based system, and I know that, and I know from my early times here, my handwriting is god-awful, so you don't always get what you need on that either. However, I do know that there are municipalities that require a predetermined sign-in and speaking order before the meeting starts, and if you show up late or you didn't sign in, you don't get a spot. And I don't want to see us do that, because I think that leads to a different problem and could lead to more issues with public trust. So I know I think we need to rework your speech on, like, your intro for that, Mayor Gerard. Not doesn't have to be right away, but to kind of say, we are going to ask this, we're requesting it. However, please fill the form out, and then if you don't give it, we just have to kind of leave it at that. Because I don't think, from what was been said at the last meeting, we can't do much more than that legally. However, if we try to enforce something on the back end before the meeting, we're going to get people more upset that they're not going to have their voice here in City Hall. And I think that's the line that we're trying to clarify with everybody.
Okay. Commissioner Tenney?
Yes, thank you. To that point, I agree that the preface could be tweaked a little bit, because we learned last time, I think most of us learned on the spot, thanks to the clerk, that it's really just an ask, right? And it was a little bit comical, because one of the public speakers who did not want to give out their address said they wouldn't back down from anything aside from evidently giving their address. So I think consistency matters, though. So if we just tweaked that, so we're following the actual law and saying it's a request, that could suffice, right?
Commissioner Cubit?
I appreciate the discussion and for us being consistent, and after thinking about it, yes, I agree that we can't require it, and also people can lie. So, there's not a whole lot that we can do about people lying, but again, it goes to a credibility issue. As a First Ward Commissioner, I care very much about the opinions of people in the First Ward, so if you don't let me know that you're from the First Ward, then I'm going to assume that you're not, and I'm going to weigh your comments appropriately. So I think it makes sense that we request they state their name and address, but if they do not comply, I don't think there's a whole lot that we're going to do about it, and it goes to their weight and credibility maybe as a speaker.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Doyle, did you have anything else to add?
I was just going to say I'd agree with that 100%. That's kind of where I'm at with it. It is an ask, but if you choose not to provide that information, I'm going to weigh your opinion a little differently. I care more about my third ward than I do about out-of-towners. So while it is an ask, I think that if you choose to withhold that information, do it with the understanding that we're taking it with a grain of salt, if that makes sense.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Charlebois?
So where does it sit then? We can't force people to give us their address?
Not
Is that
to the rules.
Because I was led to believe that, yes, everybody that gets up here needs to give their name and address verbally and write it down. Because the one person that he said in particular, he said he had death threats. So he threatened me. I'm a democratic socialist, and he threatened me and other people. And he had, the irony is he had death threats on him, and then he's threatened he's going to get me. I don't know if you recall that. I do, because it jumped right in my face, He threatened me. And he had death threats for himself. He should know better, I guess. But anyway, so is this where it sits? We can't force people to give their name and address anymore? Is that?
So I talked to the city attorney, and if we are going to require it, which we can, but only by rule. So we would have to put it in your rules that you require that.
So we're
it
going
was
to have
for
to
those same instances that Commissioner Doyle was talking about, to know where they're from.
So we're going to have to take action of some sort to make it a rule of the commission? Is that what?
Yeah, it would have to be a rule change, and it's up to you how you want to handle that.
Okay, I think I'd be for that off the top of my head, because we've kind of done that ever since I've been here. We verbally and write it down. I guess people can lie, They could say, I'm Mr. Magoo. I live on Kosciuszko Avenue, but.
All set, Commissioner?
Yeah, I guess we're going to have to do a rule change if we want to make it stick. I'd be for that. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Coakley,
Is it bad that I actually know who Mr. Muguyu is too? showing my age. I'm going to echo my colleagues from the 1 and 3rd on that too, and also from the 8th there. I mean, it weighs more if I know you're from Bay City, Ward 2 and so forth, but any part of the city opposed to somebody from outside. Everybody's voice is important, but, you know, citizens of the city do, I mean, I would like to know when they're speaking. So whatever action we need to try to do, I guess let's try to figure it out.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Runberg.
I know it's in the charter, section 3.4.1 for rules of operation, journal and publication. It says we shall establish rules. Where do I find those rules, the standing rules?
They're in chapter 2 under administration.
Thank you.
All set. All right, Commissioner Cubit.
If it's not already officially a rule that we request the name and address, and even if we go through the process of making it officially a rule, you know, I don't want to chill speech in this chamber, and I think there might be somebody who has a perfectly valid, maybe they have an existing PPO and they want to decline, but even if we make it a formal rule, people can still lie and not honor our rule, and I think it's kind of the same problem. So whether we make it formally the rule or not, I think we still have the same issue, but I do want us to still request that of everyone, because I do think that information's important, and if we choose to make it an official rule, that's fine too.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Runberg.
Yeah, kind of on that, and this is just me spitballing here, but I'm afraid if we make it a requirement, like we make it a request, but if we make it a requirement, then we will be less prone to know if somebody's just giving us a bogus address or if they're being genuine. I think if we leave it as a request, those who are of honest character, kind of like, what do they say, the old adage is, locked doors make for, I can't remember how that one goes, but basically we're ruling out the, if they don't want to, then we can definitely weight our respect to that opinion significantly different, but if we mandate it, then somebody that says I'm at 123 Donald Duck Lane, but you know, uses something more believable, then we're kind of left not knowing who the ones that we should give our heavier weighted opinions or respect toward. So, I don't know, just a thought.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? And the final thing I have, yes, a private conversation between Commissioner Runberg and myself was leaked out and unfortunate, but you know, him and I, even though we might not agree on certain substantive issues, you know, I think we're better and beyond that. You know, we had conversations since then, and so, you know, I just hope sometimes you're going to disagree, and you're just going to have to disagree, but still, as people, we should have conversations and communicate, and I value that. So, thank you for the conversation. So that's all I have. City Manager, you have.
I have a couple things. Our video that we showed tonight for the year in review, we will have that on the website tomorrow. And budgets were due today, mostly for the general fund, so we start the work now and putting everything together and bringing you a balanced budget. I do want to recognize one of my employees, Debbie Kiesel, who is our Community Development Director. She's worked for the city for over 30 years and is retiring this week. I want to, yeah. I do want to thank you for your public service and all the work that you have done for the residents of Bay City. I don't know if people know what she does in community development, but she wears many hats in that department. She will be very missed, but we will have her back on a contractual basis to still work on our CDBG funds, which is needed until we have a new director.
All right, thank you. All right, so we're on to public hearings. So we have 3 public hearings before us. So this is an opportunity for citizens to address the commission regarding public hearings number 1, which is the application from Lynn Street Renaissance LLC for the creation of an obsolete property rehabilitation district located at 1008 to 1010 North Lynn Street. Public hearing number 2, which is the application from Lynn Street Renaissance LLC for a 12-year obsolete property rehabilitation exemption certificate located at 108 to 110 North Lynn Street in the amount of $255,237. And public hearing number 3, the resolution adopting the Downtown Management Board 2025 to 2029 plan and directing the city assessor to prepare the certified special assessment roll. So under the rules of the City Commission, each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes to speak. Commissioner Coakley will serve as a timekeeper. Is there a motion to allow for public hearings? Commissioner DeWitt.
Move to allow for a public hearing on special orders 1, 2, and 3.
All right, is there a second? Commissioner Tenney.
Second.
All right, if anyone wishes to address the commission regarding public hearing item number 1, please come forward, sign the registration sheet, and state your name and address for the record. All right, seeing no one come forward. Oh, okay. Oh, you've already signed in, so actually you're fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be short and sweet. My feeling is anytime that we can renovate and restore what we've already got, instead of tearing it down, and also, it's in conjunction with expanding our businesses and our image and this and that. I feel for that first resolution, the second resolution regarding North Lynn Street is a positive.
You have to speak specific to number 1.
Oh, okay, for number 1. And then I just won't come up to comment for number 2. So there. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else would like to come forward for public hearing number 1? Okay, seeing no one, public hearing number 2. Anybody like to come forward for public hearing number 2?
Jeff Doyen, Bay City. Going back to earlier conversation, anything that can bring revenue to the city, if somebody's going to stick their money out to help with renovating our city to make it look more beautiful, any place where a job could be created, whether it's remodeling or long-term employment, the city, this is exactly what we need to be bringing attention to and what we need to bring to our city. Bring money to our city, people will come. And that's exactly the whole purpose of our city, and that's how we're all here, because there's a reason to be here. Without having jobs, everything leaves, everything dries up, ends up ghost towns. We don't need that. Bay City's thrived throughout all these years with many different manufacturings to different types of small businesses. So I would ask you, anything that's a benefit to bring employment to our city, that's exactly what we need. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to come forward for public hearing number 2? All right, see no one. Public hearing number 3. Anybody like to come forward for public hearing number 3?
Paul Kleino again. I didn't have a specific comment on this plan. I more so was hoping to request that someone could come forward and speak to the public about this, put it in layman's terms. Spending some time around the Planning Commission and being on the Zoning Board of Appeals, I know how important, for example, the city master plan is. So with this new Downtown Management Board plan, if there's anyone here today who could come and describe it to the public on what its overall goals are, what they're looking to accomplish, I think that'd be appreciated.
Thank you. Anybody else like to come forward for public hearing number 3? All right, seeing no one come forward, we're moving on to special orders. Will the clerk please read the next item on the agenda?
Special Order 1, Commission as a Whole Resolution regarding application from Lynn Street Renaissance LLC for the creation of an obsolete property rehabilitation district located at 108 110 North Lynn Street. Recommendation approve.
Is there a motion? Commissioner DeWitt.
Move to approve.
Is there a second? Commissioner Runberg.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing no one, will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Doyle.
Yes.
Tenney.
Yes.
Zanotti. DeWitt.
Yes.
Rumberg.
Yes.
Charlebois.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Cubitt. Yes. Coakley.
Yes.
9 yes.
Motion's been adopted. Will the clerk please read the next special order?
Special Order 2, Commission as a whole resolution regarding application from Lynn Street Renaissance LLC for a 12-year obsolete property rehabilitation exemption certificate located at 108-110 North Lynn Street in the amount of $255,237. Recommendation approved.
Motion, Commissioner Tenney.
Move to approve.
Is there a second? Commissioner Zanatti. Discussion. Commissioner DeWitt.
Just want to note for people who may have seen this and see that there's a tax savings, just to lay it out there. They are still going to be collecting over the 12 years $157,000 of taxes from this property. So this is not we're giving them $255,000 out of our coffers, just the reduced amount with the agreement. So we will still be receiving funds, just that they are being incentivized to do the investment. So just so people know, we're not just going to hand them a fistful of cash.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Commissioner Tenney.
Yes.
Zanatti.
Yes.
DeWitt.
Yes.
Rumberg.
Yes.
Charlebois.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Cubit.
Yes.
Coakley.
Yes.
Doyle.
Yes.
9 yes.
Motion's approved. Will the clerk please read the next item on the agenda?
Special Order 3, Commission as a whole resolution adopting Downtown Management Board 2025 through 2029 plan and directing the city assessor to prepare the certified special assessment roll. Recommendation approved.
Is there a motion? Commissioner DeWitt.
Move to approve.
Is there a second? Commissioner Coakley.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner DeWitt.
Do we have anyone here on staff, through the manager, who would be willing to give a brief synopsis of this special assessment and what it covers?
Sure, it's the same plan. We're just renewing the exact same plan with no changes. So if you want staff to come up and state what was in the original plan, that's no problem.
If they can do, they don't just need to do like a 30-second, hey, it's this, if they could, please.
Sarah.
So just as the city manager said, it is just a renewal. Every 4 years per the statute, it's PA 260. You have to have a plan that is put in place. So every 4 years, that plan has to be renewed. No changes were made other than updating board members, stuff like that. The amounts didn't change, anything like that. So per PA 260, it's a special assessment district that's established. So there is a board that has to be created, which there is, that can determine where those funds are spent. They have to be spent in that district area that is created. So all of the things that you see as far as the entertainment type things that happen, also some of the infrastructure stuff that happens downtown, all of that money, that's where that money comes from, is those types of things, the beautification, the different events that happen.
Thank you. I had not only the speaker here, but I had somebody yell and tell me that they were stealing money from the rest of the city. I'm like, no, those are funds collected by those things. I can find them on the GIS. So I just thank you for that.
Yes, the businesses that pay into the special assessment reap those rewards. Yes, thank you.
All right, all set? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Zanatti.
Yes.
DeWitt.
Yes.
Yes.
Charlebois.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Cubit.
Yes.
Coakley.
Yes.
Doyle.
Yes.
Tenney.
Yes.
9 yes.
Motion's approved. Will the clerk, we move on to regular agenda, and will the clerk please read the next item of business?
Reports of Officers 6, City Manager recommending contract with Sinclair Recreation, Holland, Michigan for the Carroll Playground site improvements in the amount of $1 million. Recommendation approved.
Motion, Commissioner Cubit.
Move to approve.
Is there a second? Commissioner Tenney.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner DeWitt.
So again, going back in the history when we initially approved the search for the RAP grant to get us, I think it said 50% cost share on the creation of this plan. That $500,000 from the city funds, do we remember which account or which area that would be coming from?
It would be budgeted out of Parks Department.
Okay, so that is
Either that or out of public improvement, one of those two.
But it's already in that
For this year, and then we have to put $250 in next year's budget.
Okay, those are the clarifications I was looking for. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Charlebois.
Was half of this money a grant?
Yes, 500.
That's what I
Well-
thought. This has been floating around for a while, hasn't it?
It has been. It was $1 million project, and we were able to get 500,000 in grant money.
That's what I thought. So this is going to finish this deal then?
It is.
All right.
All right, any other comments? All right, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Commissioner DeWitt?
Yes.
Rumberg?
Yes.
Charlebois?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Cubit?
Yes.
Coakley?
Yes.
Doyle?
Yes.
Tenney?
Yes.
Zanati?
Yes.
9 yes.
Motion's been approved. Will the clerk please read the next item on the agenda?
Boards of Officers 9, City Manager recommending ordinance amendment to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 46, Community Development, Article 4, Housing Project Exemptions, adding Division 6, New Market Commons Payment in lieu of taxes. Recommendation to receive for first reading and refer to next meeting for second reading and possible adoption.
All right, is there a motion, Commissioner Kubit?
Move to approve.
Is there support, Commissioner DeWitt?
It's a motion to receive.
I'm sorry, you're right, correct. Motion to receive for first reading, yes.
Motion to receive.
Yep, thank you, and then...
I'll second that, yes.
Second that, yes, thank you. Any other discussion?
The only discussion is just that I wanted to abstain given the community relationship with my legal aid organization. That was the only purpose of pulling it.
I don't think you can abstain if you're...
Well, yeah, because it's a receive and refer. I can note it in the minutes since you stated it earlier. Because there's no vote unless there's an objection.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, so is there any objection to receive? All right, seeing none, then it's received. All right, will the clerk please read the next item of business?
Regular Agenda 1, City Commission recommending professional services agreement with Vetrano Consulting LLC for the executive search for the position of city manager in the amount of $15,500 plus advertising costs, services outside the scope of work, and reimbursable expenses. Recommendation approved.
Commissioner Tenney?
Move to approve.
Second, Commissioner Coakley.
Second.
Discussion, Commissioner Runberg.
Yeah, I just want to say for those who weren't able to catch the meeting where we were interviewing the various consulting firms, at least speaking personally, because I can't speak to anyone else's vote, we didn't arrive at this decision because of the cost. It was, I believe, the cheapest one that was on there, but I do encourage people to go catch the recording of that meeting. I feel that many might agree with the fact that this person knows Michigan, knows our size of municipality, and I think is going to do a great job for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Commissioner DeWitt.
I also want to pretty much echo what he said, and again, what I mentioned when I looked up that rate, and I encourage my other fellow commissioners to do so too. Look for the data points that you want to look forward to, and then also for the stakeholders, what data points you want to look forward to in next city manager, so that when we get this going here after tonight and the signing and the passage onto him, that we can all have fruitful and helpful conditions ready for what we're looking for in the next city manager. So like I'm looking at peer cities in general, and then the terms and other public contracts for city managers, and just kind of going through and comparing, contrasting, see what I'd like, see what I don't like in them, and just kind of working from there. And I suggest you guys find your comps that you want to look at and do the same. And again, I think Mr. Vetrano had the most experience with the state of Michigan and mostly mid and a little bit larger cities, but mid and larger cities for us to work with. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I did have a brief conversation with Mr. Vetrano, and go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, I just wanted to also bring up that they did mention that they want to have one-on-one interviews with each commissioner also, along with public input. So reach out to your commissioner with things to either set up a time when we may get something going or any of your concerns. But they were going to talk to each one of us individually, so there's opportunities to reach out just with things that you want. Living in the city, we cannot force them to do, but we can put an incentive in there, I guess. So there's opportunities with that, and that's something that we're going to talk about as a group.
All right, thank you. That was kind of what I was going to say, but worked out. Thank you. Any other comment? All right, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Charlebois?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Cubit?
Yes.
Coakley?
Yes.
Doyle?
Yes.
Tenney?
Yes.
Zanati?
Yes.
DeWitt?
Yes.
Rumberg?
Yes.
9 yes.
All right, it's been approved. Will the clerk please read the next item on the agenda?
Regular Agenda 2, Temporary Employment Agreement with Dana Muscat to serve as City Manager through April 30th, 2026.
Is there a motion, Commissioner Cupid?
Move to approve.
Is there a second, Commissioner DeWitt?
Second.
Discussion, Commissioner DeWitt.
So I know, and I'm going to say this publicly, current city manager and I have not had the friendliest relationship over the past 8 years, even though I think it's better now than it has been working side by side. I had a lot of complaints about this online, though, with a lot of things that were factually incorrect. The agreement we have is to start with 25 hours a week as a baseline, and this does exclude benefits. So as the city manager retires from the full-time position and loses those full-time benefits, this would be payment opposite of that. Also, when we were looking at rates for a temporary fill-in, which during a budget season is not really recommended for a city, the rates were this or higher for the most part from what we were estimating. So this is actually going to be a savings on that end too, and that's at 40 hours a week. And then just, again, we need to make sure we don't make it so the staff have no figurehead for their questions, and we want us to make sure that things moving forward go as smooth as possible for this transition. So I think I'm in support of this as it is, and we're working on ways to ensure that everyone knows what's going on.
All right, Commissioner Tenney.
Thank you. Through the chair to the city manager, this may be premature, but welcome back, I guess.
Thank you.
Commissioner Coakley.
We did ask almost every consulting firm whether it would be in our best interest to continue on until we did get some things finalized, and each one of them to a T did say absolutely without hesitation.
Okay. Commissioner Kubit.
Yeah, I just want to reassure those that are concerned in the public that this was looked at very carefully and out of thinking of the city's best interest for a transition, and also just the fiscal impact that having an interim would have too, that this does not change the budget that's already allotted for the city manager, but it is restructured in a slightly different way. So, it accounts for the value of benefits, and it'll just be a straight hourly rate. And so this is something that I think is in the best interest, both from a fiscal standpoint, which would be much cheaper than paying what might be hard to get from an outside temporary person, and we might have to pay them all kinds of extra things too, like temporary housing if they have to be here temporarily, and it actually could get quite expensive. So not only from a transition standpoint, but also a fiscal responsibility standpoint to get us established with the new city manager, I'm in full support.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Coakley.
And this is a 6-week contract, correct?
April 30th is the end of the.
So about 6 weeks, maybe 7.
Okay, anybody else? All right, seeing no one, will the clerk please call the motion to adopt?
Commissioner Kubit.
Yes.
Coakley.
Yes.
Doyle.
Yes.
Tenney.
Yes.
Zanotti.
Yes.
DeWitt.
Yes.
Rumberg.
Yes.
Charlebois.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
9 yes.
Motion's been adopted. Is there any other business before us tonight? Seeing none, we are adjourned.